Buenos días, soy Natalia Sánchez de Spanish-Perfecto and I'm here to help you learn Spanish-Perfecto from level 0. Today, we're going to study the reflexive verbs, los verbos reflexivos. These are very particular verbs and at the same time very important. You really need to know them and you really need to know how to use them and when to use them. Are you ready to start? Empecemos. ¿Y qué son los verbos reflexivos? And what are the reflexive verbs? Let's see an example. I wash myself. I is the subject, wash is the verb, and myself is the object. I, the subject, and myself, the object, are the same. The person who is doing the action is also receiving the action. The verb in the middle is considered in Spanish a reflexive verb. I wash myself. In Spanish will be yo me lavo. Yo me lavo. Me is myself. What if we say I wash my baby? I, the subject, wash the verb, my baby, the object. In this case, the subject and the object are different. The person who is doing the action is not receiving the action. So I am doing the action for my baby. The verb in the middle is not considered a reflexive verb in Spanish because the person who is doing the action is doing it to someone else, is not doing to himself. Yo me lavo, I wash myself. Yo lavo a mi bebé. I wash my baby. I know at this point you're pulling your hair, saying, what is this? But I've got good news for you. You already know a reflexive verb. Remember those previous lessons when we discussed the verb llamarse, llamar? I call myself Natalia. The thing here is that you already know a reflexive verb, so it will be very easy for you to conjugate the following reflexive verbs. The reflexive verbs we're going to learn during this lesson. The verb we already know is llamarse. Yo me llamo. Tú te llamas. Él se llama. Nosotros nos llamamos. Vosotros os llamáis. Ellos se llaman. Have you noticed those little particles before the verb? Me, te, se, nos, os, se. These particles are the reflexive particles. And the verbs, the normal verbs, the regular verbs, will become reflexive when you add these particles before the verb. Let's see an example with this verb, llamar. Yo llamo a María. Yo, the subject, llamo, the verb, a María. The object, I am calling someone else. So the verb is not reflexive. Yo llamo a María. But if I say, yo me llamo Natalia, that means I call myself Natalia. Or I can also say, yo me llamo todos los días. This is a bit strange, I don't know how I do it, but in Spanish this means I call myself every day. Yo me llamo todos los días. Veamos el verbo lavar, to wash. The verb lavar, to wash. This verb is a regular verb ending with AR. Therefore, we conjugate it as a regular verb. Lavo, lavas, lava, lavamos, laváis, lavan. By the way, you probably hear vi lavar, but it's actually a V. Remember, in Spanish, we don't have this sound, and the letter V and B are pronounced the same. B, lavar. How does this verb becomes reflexive? We add the particles before the verb. Yo me lavo. I wash myself. Tú te lavas. You wash yourself. Ella se lava. She washes herself. Nosotras nos lavamos. We wash ourselves. Vosotros os laváis. You all wash yourselves. Ellas se lavan. They wash themselves. I can now say, yo me lavo todos los días. I wash myself every day. Or I can say, yo lavo a mi hija todos los días. I wash my daughter every day. When we do the action to someone, we also add a. Yo lavo a mi hija. Yo lavo a mi padre, porque él es muy mayor. But if we are doing the action to an object, yo lavo mi coche. We don't need this a. Yo lavo mi casa. I wash my car, I wash my house. Yo lavo mi coche. Yo lavo mi casa. Yo lavo a mi madre. Yo lavo a mi hija. We're going to study today a few verbs that are mostly used in a reflexive way. And those are verbs that are usually spoken when we talk about daily routines, because we usually do these routines for us. Like to wake up. We wake ourselves up. Nobody has to do it for us. Or sometimes, yes. Let's see how we say that. The verb wake up, to wake up, despertar, to wake up, despertar. It's a bit irregular, and let's conjugate it together, just a small irregularity. Yo despierto. It's not desperto. There is an I. Despierto. Tú despiertas. Él despierta. Nosotros despertamos. It becomes regular at this point. Despertamos. Vosotros despertáis. Also regular. Ellos despiertan. Irregular again. Despierto, despiertas, despierta. Despertamos, despertáis. I wake my daughter up. Yo despierto a mi hija. But what if I have to say I wake up myself? Yo me despierto. Tú te despiertas. Ella se despierta. Nosotros nos despertamos. Vosotros os despertáis. Ellos se despiertan. Yo me despierto muy temprano. I wake up very early. Muy temprano. Yo despierto a mi hija muy temprano. I wake my daughters up very early. ¿A qué hora te despiertas? At what time do you wake up? ¿A qué hora? ¿A qué hora te despiertas? ¿A qué hora te despiertas? ¿A qué hora se despierta tu marido? ¿A qué hora os despertáis tu familia y tú? ¿A qué hora se despiertan tus padres? Let's study another verb, also used for daily routines. Levantar. To get up. Levantar. Although it's also to lift something. Levantar. To lift or to get up. This is a regular verb. Levantar. Ending with AR. Levanto, levantas, levanta, levantamos, levantáis, levantan. It's also written with V, but one more time we pronounce a B. What if we want to write this verb in a reflexive way? Yo me levanto. It's I lift myself up. Yo me levanto. Tú te levantas. Él se levanta. Nosotros nos levantamos. Vosotros os levantáis. Ellos se levantan. ¿A qué hora te levantas? ¿Tú te levantas solo? ¿Tú levantas a tus hijos? ¿Tu madre se levanta sola? ¿A qué hora se levanta tu hermana? Veamos la respuesta. Let's see the answer. Yo me levanto a las 9. I wake up at 9. A las. Yo me levanto a las 8. Mi hermana se levanta a las 9. Mis padres se levantan a las 7. We're going to study, vamos a estudiar un verbo más, one more verb, because I know your head is going to explode today. Un verbo más. El verbo duchar, 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 to shower, to shower. Yo ducho, it's a regular verb ending with AR. Yo ducho, duchas, ducha, duchamos, ducháis, duchan. But what if I wash myself, like we usually do? Yo me ducho. Tú te duchas. Ella se ducha. Nosotros nos duchamos. Vosotros os ducháis. Ellos se duchan. ¿Tú te duchas todos los días? You take shower every day? ¿Tu hija se ducha sola? Does your daughter take shower by herself? Yo ducho a mi hija todos los días. O yo ducho a mi hija un día sí y otro no. I shower my daughter one day yes and other no, literally translated. We're going to stop this lesson here because as we said, you have a lot to swallow today and this is going to be only the first part of reflexive verb. We're going to keep studying them, we're going to study a few more verbs and then we're going to study and see what happens when we have two verbs together and one of them is a reflexive verb. But before we go to the next episode, I'm going to ask you some questions. You might have to go back and study again the verbs we have studied today to answer the following questions. Are you ready? ¿Estás preparado? Empecemos. I wake up very early to go to work. Yo me despierto muy temprano para ir a trabajar. I wake my daughter up to go to school. Yo despierto a mi hija para ir al colegio. el colegio and a plus el, remember it becomes al. Yo despierto a mi hija para ir al colegio. I get up very late during the weekend. Yo me levanto muy tarde en el fin de semana. Yo me levanto muy tarde en el fin de semana. I get my children up very late during the weekend. Yo levanto a mis hijos muy tarde en el fin de semana. My parents don't take shower every day because they are old. Mis padres no se duchan todos los días porque ellos están mayores o son mayores. I shower my daughter one day yes and another no. Yo ducho a mi hija un día sí y otro no. My husband and I wash the dishes every day. Mi marido y yo lavamos los platos, remember this from restaurants, los platos, el plato principal, el plato primero, el plato segundo. Mi marido y yo lavamos los platos todos los días. She washes her hair very often. Ella se lava el pelo muy a menudo. You probably dubbed it here because you said, is this subject and the object the same? It's actually the same because the hair belongs to her. So if she washes her hands, we will also say ella se lava las manos, ella se lava el pelo. These are examples where these verbs can really create a problem. But now I hope you understood. Ella se lava el pelo. Do you wash your children? Do you wash your children? ¿Tú lavas a tus hijos? I must say that this is not a very common way to say. Even in English, it sounds a bit strange. We will say like you shower. Do you shower your children? Or do you give them a bath? But you can also hear this in Spanish. I hope you enjoyed this lesson. Next episode, we're going to continue expanding the reflexive verbs. Muchas gracias por estar ahí y hasta el próximo episodio. Remember, you can always contact me through our website, Spanish-Perfecto, for more information, or through the Instagram Spanish-Perfecto. Hasta pronto!